Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Hip Hop Babies.
Yes, sir, ski.
Whoa. We back. Y'all know what it is, man. It's your host with the most. It's Deadly. I got my boy Ray with me, as always. And we coming back at y'all with another hip hop album review. This time we got McKinley Dixon, Magic Alive. And man, what an album, bro. What an album. Since we getting into jazz rap, this is one of the better jazz rap albums that I've ever heard, man. And I don't even want to just like box it like that and call it jazz rap, but like live instrumentation, an artist and a band kind of collaborating to make a project. I really feel it, in my soul with this album. So
yeah, a lot of the music on here, a lot of the rapping, a lot of the flows and everything give energy, bring energy, especially with what he's rapping about. I knew after Beloved Paradise Jazz that we were going to get a good album. I was just wondering how he was going to follow up, and he followed up beautifully. Every song on here was enjoyable. And then add on the concept of losing a friend, three people figuring out how to bring them back together because there's magic involved, right? And they try to, work through it after figuring out, and there's issues that pop up because of that. You can't cheat death, obviously, and it comes up throughout the album. And I do think that this, again, following Beloved Paradise Jazz, really, influenced by Toni Morrison, her books, and he does that again on Recitative. He always talks about how he loves his mom or he loves, a black woman. He talks about, his family. It's really personal. I know we talk about a lot of artists that are personal, but I feel like McKinley does it in such a grounded and special way that brings a lot of life to his albums, right?
The track you were talking about, like, just the concept of it, like, he's, like, rapping about wanting to join the homie in, like, eternity, right? Like, talking about how, like, it's not about, like, killing himself, but like wanting to be, with somebody that he's lost, that he's loved. And, that's a really deep and profound thing to be talking about. And then he kind of follows it up where he's talking to himself in it, and he's like giving himself advice about like, like you shouldn't be doing this because he wouldn't want this, he would want you to live on for him. And I just thought that was a great narrative on that. And then throwing the beat switch, that like metal sounding beat switch, techno shit, and Taylor Banks just goes absolutely dumb.
Correct.
So dumb on that shit, bro.
He went crazy.
Cold as fuck.
He's on here 2 times, if I'm not mistaken, and both times he pops up were impressive. Got to do more research on him. Dope artist.
Yeah, he was on FFOL as well, and I thought he sounded like a little auto-tuned Lil Wayne for a second there. The flows too, the cadences, like he was just really rapping on here. That's not to undermine McKinley Dixon, who obviously is the star of this whole thing. His rapping was on another level. The wordplay is crazy. I feel like just being able to get to a point where you can convey a concept in general, you have to be like masterful with the pen. So it's just another level, on top of it. I feel like anytime we're talking about concept albums, we always talking about an MC who really knows how to work his pen. So I don't think that there's ever a doubt on here, listening to this, like what he can do, with that. But like also, I just love how much space he gives to the instrumentation. Like you go, We're Outside Rejoice, and like just that like opening flow. Like he just gets it, bro. He just like chilling with the beat. He's like, you like that? Like he gives a lot of space, and I feel like that's like in the spirit jazz and soul, and like where we got those like drum breaks from. We'll be listening to soulful music, and then you get a little drum break, you loop that's hip hop, and then bringing it back the other way, expanding, giving a little bit of space, letting the instrumentation breathe, let like the synths come in, let the horns come in. I just felt like there was like so many layers to it, and it didn't feel like it was just like him coming at you. It was like him, the instruments, and then all the features like adding on layers.
Shout out to Sam Yamaha and Sam Koff. Shout out to them for doing a great job on the production. I remember on Beloved Paradise Jazz, McKinley touched on the production as well. I'm assuming he did maybe a little bit on here, but it's dope to see him work with mainly Sam Yamaha and bring these tracks to life. Because like I said, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of liveliness on these tracks. You brought up We're Outside Rejoice. letting the drums come in. He's hyping them up. You know, they're going back at each other. And then he goes in and rips it. Crooked Stick. That was another track where the drums were crazy. And then Gus Guevara and Alfred went crazy on there as well. All the features on here pretty much went crazy. He worked with a bunch of people we're familiar with and some people that I'm not. And they all impressed me for the most part. Sometimes, did they add to the concept as much as maybe you would want? Maybe not, but for the most part, they fit.
Yeah, I feel like the best example is you got All the Loved Ones. I felt like Ice Cold Bishop's verse really added to the concept, you know, like talking about, you know, learning how to protect yourself, you know, where did he learn it from? His mother, how much he loves his mother, how much, you know, she meant to him. She was basically his father figure. The stuff that they were talking about was like so dope and so like culturally like relevant. Stepping back like, oh wait, Kobe with the afro, you know, like little shit like that, you know, just like that you pick up on. It's just so dope. But then like also you had Pink Sifu on the same track. I feel like Pink Sifu didn't necessarily resonate with the concepts as much.
What? I was feeling it. Okay, so we felt different.
No, but hold up. I felt like that when we were talking about this particular song, like what did he bring narratively? I feel like I'm still missing that.
I feel like those two actually were some of the most, you know, connected with the track.
Okay.
Especially like you said, Ice Cold Bishop though. When he said, my mama really with the extra, she will beat your ass. I done seen it with my own too. She low-key fast. Like, that's the realest shit, bro. Like, that track really hit home. And I think McKinley, especially on his last album, he had tracks that really hit home, especially for me. That brought me back to walking around, you know, you fucking see shit or you doing shit and you get in trouble or certain things happen and at the end of the day, you're happy, you make it home. And that was another track like that. Mama ain't raised no punk. Like, I think that's where Pink Sifu kind of comes in and adds on to that. Like, mama ain't raised no punk. Like, basically, like, I had to stand up for my own self. And she taught me that. Not only that, she backed me up when I was doing it, basically telling me to go do it or else you not one of us. That was a special track.
I mean, I do feel like this album just kind of gives you, I mean, it's a summer album for sure. You know, we're talking about bringing back that feeling. So I feel like, you know, title names like Run, 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 We're Outside. You know, it's just like this is an album about being outside, enjoying life. But, you know, like also what comes with it, what trials and tribulations of life throws your way. And how you kind of deal with them and how they manifest in scenarios with you and maybe in an adolescent fashion, a young adult fashion. For you, it's like nostalgic in a way. And then like I could imagine listening to this at like 14, 15 and like being a core type of memory album that I'm like, I always look back at this like this was an album that shaped my mindset a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I'm a little past that at this point in my life, but it's still just like hearing the stuff that he talks about. I really like this album front to back. It's tough. Little things about it on FFOL where he's talking about using his grandfather's words from, you know, what he heard to his brain, to his hands, to his fingers start igniting. You know, he starts writing fire on the page. Comes from his grandpa. I just felt like that shit was so powerful.
I mean, I knew out the gate we were getting something special with Sugar Water. That was a great single. Quelle Chris, you know, sometimes he gets on the track and takes over with his wittiness and his personality. And I feel like with this one, they were a great duo. And it wasn't that long of a track. It wasn't something that was, you know, too much. I feel like it was a perfect little single for this album because it kind of gets you into the premise, but it's like catchy. At least for me, I was singing that choir. You know, I'm a sucker for a choir. You know, I'm a sucker for like some godly, heavenly singing. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the instrumental on here that's crazy. Shout out to Anjamal. If I'm saying the name wrong, my bad. You killed that hook. This is an acquired taste and I've grown to love it. So this is something that will be stuck in my head. This is something that I will be playing casually. That might not be for you. Some of this is kind of deep. Some of it is kind of, you know, a little bit something that's unconventional. But once you learn to love it and once it really rubs off on you, it's a special album. It's a special experience. And I hope everyone who at least checks it out gets something from it. If not, it might not be for you, but it's for me. And if you're really into this type of music, it's for you, I feel like.
Like, you could just listen to the song Listen General, bro, and like just the way that he like goes about how he learned this magic, magic is metaphorical for, what he's doing with the music and stuff. How he learned this magic so he could express himself, how he could feel these feelings and feel validated in these feelings, and just move forward with the stuff that he's got going on. It's still a part of you. It still happened. You accepting it. You moving on. It's just really powerful stuff.
I can sit back and listen to this and relax, especially songs like All the Loved Ones, Run, 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 Part 2 with that marching intro, and then he just goes right into it. And I love he did a sequel basically to Run, 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 which we loved on the other album. And the closer could have been different. Man, could have been different. I love Blue. Shout out to Shamar. Not really too familiar with them, but Blue, amazing artist. Love how he threw him in there like he was looking at a poster, and then Blue's kind of talking to him, basically saying, be yourself. You inspired me, and you've inspired others, and you know what to do. And I do think that McKinley obviously knows what he's doing, and he knows how to make music because he followed up on an amazing album with another amazing album in its own right. Am I going to say this is the same as Beloved Paradise Jazz? No. McKinley, as a great artist, knows that there's no room to make the same thing or to stay complacent, and I appreciate that. And that whole magic element and that fantastical element added a lot to this album for me. As someone who I used to read a lot of books. I used to read fantasy books. And listening to this album, especially as I keep listening to it, kind of remind me of getting a good fantasy book and you're enjoying the story. And then when it connects with you, you could find something to connect with reality from that magic. And that's this album.
Yeah, I mean, lots of room for interpretation, lots of room for just seeing things, in different ways. Could have been different, I think, is a great one. Just talking about, which way is he going to go and what, he's trying to take advice from himself at this point. He's asked everybody else. He's turned every way, and now he's looking at himself, looking at the poster. He's imagining conversations. And just the chorus about, I just want to jump off the roof, what does that imply? Does that mean, suicide? Does it imply, he's going to take flight or something? It's just he leaves room for that interpretation, that imagination. Even down on the cover art, I feel like the cover art was really some shit you draw in your sketchbook during class or something, or something you would imagine, right? Just very whimsical, fantastical, like you were saying, that kind of stuff is what I get from this. It is a pretty laid back album. I feel like it can get hectic at times, but this is a great one. If you're into meditation, me and Ray, we be getting our Zen on, and I'll be in my fetal position like this, and I just be listening to them horns. Oh man, these beautiful choruses, like you said, the choirs. I love the choir on We're Outside Rejoice. It's just it's calming, man. It's peaceful. There's obviously some pain in here, and that is conveyed through the instrumentation. So, if you're ever feeling shocked or feeling oh man, this is getting heavy, it's cinematic. I feel like you're watching a movie sometimes as well. You said reading a book, Run, 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 Part 2. It sounds like a movie score. I'm it's just crazy. So give this one a listen. Hands down, one of my top 10 albums of this year. You will be seeing it on my list later. Pretty easy. I bought the CD for Beloved Paradise Jazz. I should have bought a physical for this one. He's well connected. He picks the right people for the right reasons to work with him. He just puts out high quality music.
Yeah, and it's dope that you have a team and you have artists around you that work with you, that support you, and that allow you to make albums like this. As someone who I wasn't familiar with not too long ago, right? And to become familiar with your work, do my research and find out you've been consistently doing this and it hasn't changed. You've always made music that it seems like you wanted to make with the concepts, with the topics you want to talk about, and you're always showing love to the people you want to show love to. It's unique, and I'm going to support it, and obviously Deadly's going to support it as well. Yeah, if you got more like this, I don't know how it's going to work because I didn't know how, like I said, I didn't know how you were going to follow up the last one, and you did it amazingly. So if you got another one, let's go. I'm ready. But hey, take your time though. Take your time because amazing stuff takes time. And
What, 2 years between these projects, right? something like that.
Yeah.
Not too bad, and I felt like, you know, he's got a great way of condensing the message and packing in so much more into a song than his contemporaries. So it's great, bro. This is a 35-minute project. It's gonna feel like you in like Time Lock or like you at Lotus Casino. Shout out Percy Jackson type shit. It's gonna take you on a little adventure. And I'm gonna throw you a curveball real quick. I know that we usually do top 3, but this one is a little short. So let's do top 2 tracks on here. What's number 1? What's number 2? No order. You can just
okay. One, I'm gonna go Sugar Water. The single, I played the hell out of it, and I'm still playing it a lot. And I do think it was a really good song. It's catchy, for me at least. Number 2, I'm gonna go All the Loved Ones. What Would We Do? Yeah, I love that track. I love everybody on that track too. So yeah, that's my 2.
Okay. Yeah, that was pretty good. I got Recitative as number 1 for me. The way that they painted the story and then the beat switch and then the way that Teller was going on there, just outstanding. And then I also got We're Outside Rejoice. That's just my shit right there. I just put that on and just have a great time. I just be cruising listening to that song. So great album. Thank y'all so much for watching this episode. Appreciate y'all for supporting us. If y'all watch on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. You just show us some love. Show us that, you know, you rocking with us. And more importantly, show McKinley that you rocking with him. Go give this album a stream. Go listen to it real quick. If you haven't heard it yet, and then come back, you know, tell us what you thought. We'd love to talk about this further. Just because we said what we want to say on here doesn't mean we ain't got more to say. You know, I really do like talking about these projects and these artists all the time. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. And with that being said, thank you so much, Ray, for being my gracious co-host. Great show as always, and I'm going to let you say your thing.
Shout out to everybody. Thank you, Deadly, for doing your thing as usual. Appreciate it. Shout out McKinley Dixon. Shout out to everybody who worked on this. Amazing album. Highly recommended. To everybody watching, thank you. Appreciate you, as usual, for watching the video. And with that being said,
peace.